Good. All right, good morning, everyone. So my name is Hanna Bennett. I work for the Utah Department of Public Safety Statewide Information and Analysis Center. So I've been working for the Department of Public Safety for almost 10 years in various roles. So I started to become interested in cybersecurity in about 2014. And since then, I've been working hard to kind of mix a job somehow with public safety and cyber. And now I am at the Statewide Information and Analysis Center, so the SIAC. And my job is to share cyber threat information. Let's see. My slide, I think, has a timer, so I apologize. With our Utah public and private sector partners. So I work at the Utah Fusion Centers. They were created after 9/11, after it was determined that we needed a better way to share information between federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. Fusion Centers are a central location that all agencies can come together to detect, investigate, apprehend, and respond to criminal, terrorist, and other activity related to homeland security. Our main focus is to provide analysis and threat assessments for cyber threats, or all threats, in fact. So there are at least one fusion center in every state. This graphic actually needs to be updated. We have now 80 fusion centers across the nation. So as far as our agency topology, I work for the state of Utah. That is what our fusion center falls under. Within the state of Utah, we have the Department of Public Safety. Within that, we actually have 11 divisions. One of them is the State Bureau of Investigation. They handle all of our investigation on a state level and assist local jurisdictions. And then we have the Statewide Information and Analysis Center, and that is the intelligence division. And so we handle the intelligence threats. Then we have the Department of Technology Services. They handle all of our state of Utah technology. And then within that, we actually have a joint operation with the Department of Technology Services and the Department of Public Safety. We have the Utah Cyber Center, which is housed at the Capitol, where we can all work together to share information. So within our fusion center, we are an all crimes fusion center. We have 6 main focus areas. We have domestic terrorism, organized crime, violent crime, trafficking, both drugs and human trafficking, gangs, and then mine is cyber. We have also our Intelligence Liaison Officer Program. This is where we have point of contacts for all of the law enforcement agencies across the state, which works great. If there is a threat, we have a point of contact immediately to go ahead and contact them. It's also a point of contact for them to receive intelligence and to share intelligence that they get. My job is cyber, and that doesn't really work with law enforcement. I get indicators of compromise, so these are like malware signatures, or they are other indicators. You give that to a law enforcement officer, and they have no idea what to do with it. So my job is to make contact with IT professionals, administrators across the state. So right now, most of my IT professionals that I work with are from the state of Utah, so the Department of Technology Services, both city and county IT, and then a lot of the education sector representatives, and then other major critical infrastructure organizations. So these are like your major facilities or gas and water and electricity. SIAC provides 3 main services to our cyber ILOs. So we have our threat notifications, analysis, and information sharing. So as far as the threat notification, so we monitor open sources that hackers like to post information on. So this could be account compromises, possible website defacement claims, and other random vulnerabilities. As far as the analysis and case support, if you have an incident in your organization and it needs to be escalated to a law enforcement status, we can go ahead and provide that referral wherever it needs to go, whether it's a state level or a federal level with the FBI. And then the other thing that we share is just the information sharing aspect is the ability to share intelligence products that come from a federal level and give them a Utah context. So just a few examples of successes that we have. Just within, since January, I've sent out about 1,400 possible cyber threat notifications and then about 70 intelligence products. This is like examples could be the account compromises or website defacements. Some examples of that. We had last year, we had this major sextortion scam where people were getting emails that had their password in the subject line, and it was saying that you need to pay us Bitcoin or else we're going to release this video of you to all of your friends and family. Of course, it was fake, but we started receiving hundreds of these. And so my job was compiling these hundreds and then actually submitting them to the FBI and our State Bureau of Investigation for investigation. So that was a really good coordination effort. Also, data breaches. I haven't found too many, but as far as new breaches, I found about 3 that the victims were not aware of. So we went ahead and notified them by phone that they have been breached, and then went ahead and contacted all of the Utah-based victims that their accounts were involved in a breach. Also, botnets. Our threat stream for botnets is fairly small, but we are working on it. There are a few botnet threat providers that we have access to. So still working on that. As far as exposed servers, I find hundreds of exposed servers with open ports that should not be. So these are servers that have remote desktop accessible, just open and wide to the internet, or any other various threats. We also provide special event support. So with major events, there is always the threat of physical violence. So we do monitor social media, just open social media for that as well. And then the intelligence reporting, increases in reporting. It doesn't just tell us that there was an attack that happened, but we want to know who and why. And so it gives us the attribution of attacks. I also just want to point out that we understand organizations are hesitant to share vulnerability information. The SIAC understands that this is very sensitive information. We don't want to out our sources, so please let us know. We are not a regulatory agency. If you don't want us to pass it on, we don't have to. I have had a case where we had the intelligence community come back and ask me who these victims were, and I have the ability to say no. So these are just a couple examples of open source information that you can use. It's just information, but you can use it to build an intelligence platform of your own, just as far as open sources. So this is where I get the majority of my account compromises. This is pastebin. Hackers like to brag that they have hacked things or in possession of hacked things. If you don't have pastebin, you should. You can get a free account and monitor at least your own domain. Then if at any time your domain pops up, it will send you an email, and it's pretty quick to triage through. Another a good one is Zone H. They also like to brag that they hack websites and have the website defacements. So there's a plethora of mirror websites that will mirror a website if it was hacked. These are not necessarily good as like a quick response as far as like notification, but it's good research to to find out how many times you have been targeted, and then to be able to go back to reference or to see if an actor has been doing this multiple times to multiple organizations. Another one is Showdown. If you don't have this, definitely get it. I know with the free account, you are pretty limited, and with Enterprise, you can actually search for like exploits or more like custom searches. I'll go ahead, and if I get a hit on something, I will go to Showdown to verify what everyone else can see. So these are just examples of 3 sources of just threat information that you can build to start building that intelligence platform that you need for your own organization. So we do this for our cyber partners, so if you want, I can absolutely add you if you are within the critical infrastructure domain or part of state, local, tribal, and territorial. But if you're not, you can absolutely do this on your own. So sharing information is so important because that is how we develop intelligence. And I want to stress that information is not intelligence. Information is your databases, your raw files, your network logs. All of those tables that they were talking about in one of the keynotes earlier from yesterday, that's just information. The intelligence aspect is the evaluation and analysis of that information, specifically to give to our key strategic decision makers. And so these would be like your CISO, legislators, any county, city officials, or your organization's administration. They are the people that are asking questions. What do we do from here? What makes sense? So they should be asking questions like these. If they don't, you absolutely should. In an effort to understand your own threat landscape, the intelligence cycle is how we answer all of these questions. Planning is not only developing what your key question is, but limiting the question in scope and determining the resources that you will need in order to actually answer it. The cycle is never complete. It's always an ongoing process. We should always be revisiting our questions and trying to figure out what is new. So one of the biggest benefits of the SIAC Cyber Program is the massive amount of resources that we have available to us from the intelligence community. So just as a quick kind of overview, we do have the State Bureau of Investigation, the Division of Emergency Management, the Department of Technology Services, the Utah National Guard, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We also partner with the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center, which is a part of the Center for Internet Security. So DHS has many functions. I work directly with 2 of them, intelligence and analysis. They are the ones that write reports after it happens. So they would get the indicators of compromise, pass it up to the intelligence community to see if we can get attribution. The other one that I work directly with is the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. They are more just geared towards protecting the .gov domain and securing our critical infrastructure. Within there, if you do fall under critical infrastructure, so this is the information technology sector, this is the education sector does fall under state, local, tribal, and territorial, so you do as well. You can get all of this for free, the cyber preparedness, strategic messaging, and the big one is the cyber assessments. They will do vulnerability assessments for free. They do take a little bit of time, but it is free. Another resource that we have access to is the FBI. We have 3 investigators with the State Bureau of Investigation. They do an amazing job working directly with the FBI, and they are able to take these smaller local cases and escalate them up to a federal level. This is just one example, like we know just from cybercrime that victims, they're usually not in the same state. They're usually not even in the same country. And so the great lengths that they have to go to get prosecution is amazing. So huge shout out to them. But what they do is they work with the FBI cyber unit, and they will go ahead and investigate not only the state level, but also the federal level crimes. So if you have a cybercrime occur in your organization, report them to either us or the IC3, which is the Internet Crime Complaint Center. It is not just a database that no one looks at. We actually do look at them. What happens is the FBI will actually look at it, see what jurisdiction it falls under, and then send it to that organization or that field office. I also do have access to it as well, so if anything happens and you need to submit a complaint, if you let me know you've already submitted to IC3, I can go ahead and just pull that so you don't have to submit the exact same paperwork twice. Another resource is InfraGard. This is a nonprofit partnership between private and public sector and the FBI. So this is how you would get their FBI intelligence bulletins that are specifically meant for the private sector if you're not already subscribed to us. So SIACs, the Information Sharing and Analysis Center, there is about 20 of them. They are sector specific. I work directly with the multi-state and elections infrastructure SIAC. So I know those two are free. Others you do have to pay, but they should have an information sharing center that is specific to your organization. Some of them are hit and miss, but it's really good information that is relevant to your sector for the most part. So in the MSIS, so the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center, they are part of the Center for Internet Security, and so you would know them with the CIS controls. So they are actually designated by DHS as a key resource for cyber threats for state, local, tribal, and territorial. They do have a 24/7 SOC, and it is free for SLTT. So if you don't have this and you are in the education or government sector, please sign up. It's free, and what you get as far as the free access is the threat notifications. They also have a malicious code analysis platform, or MCAP. That is actually pretty nice because you can also submit URLs to it, not just files. They also offer a vulnerability management program and vulnerability assessments. And then the best part is the incident response. If you have a major breach or anything, they can respond for free. So if you are an organization that is considered critical infrastructure, or you are considered SLTT and want more information about any of these, so for CISA, MSIS, or the SIAC, and you want to receive our emails or our distribution lists or have us add you to our threat monitoring, go ahead and send us an email at siac@utah.gov. Also, I do have direct access to our region's CISA representative, and so if you let me know that you are a part of critical infrastructure, I can just give you his information directly. So remembering that we are not a regulatory agency and we all benefit when we share information, especially indicators of compromise. We are interested in any of these crimes, anything from the more technical, whether it's denial of service or malware, or to the regular fraud, like the business email compromise or identity theft. When you are responding to your own incidents, try to keep in mind that fixing the problem is crucial. You absolutely need to fix it, but we also need that forensics evidence for the crime. So with that, please report any of those to the SIAC at siac.utah.gov, or you can do it directly at SIAC@utah.gov. That's all I have. Thank you.